have your PhD interview coming up? Well, if you do, I'm sure you want to ace it. Yeah! You want to get that PhD, right? Well, rejection is a real thing. It is real and it is not something we want. So in today's video, I am going to tell you the major reasons why most people are rejected when they go for a PhD interview. Are you applying to do a PhD? A PhD can be a great thing. Yes, do it, go for it. But there are a lot of things to consider. The first hurdle is to do an amazing application and a great interview. But unfortunately, many PhD applicants are not successful and rejection is a real thing. Sorry, it's true. So in this video today, I am going to tell you the major reasons why most people get a rejection from their PhD application so that you know what not to do. My name is Dr. Hayley Stainton, and if you are new to this channel, please do subscribe. Please do hit like on this video too. And I have lots of helpful content that I'm sure you all love. So the first reason why lots of PhD applications are not accepted is because the people who want to do the PhD write a really poor application. Now, some positions will require an application form and some will require a proposal and many will require both. Now, it's your job as potential PhD student to make these awesome. And some of the key things that you can do is making sure there are no spelling or grammatical errors in your application and your proposal, making sure they are well structured, making sure you answer all of the questions. If it says put a cross in the box, don't tick it, put a cross. If it says write in capital letters, make sure you write in capital letters. Things like that are so simple can destroy your chances of getting that PhD position. I recommend whenever you write an application, whether it's for a PhD or anything else in life actually, I recommend that you get somebody to proofread it. It's really hard sometimes to see our own mistakes, and I do it all the time. If you read my website, I'm sure you will find a typo in there somewhere. In fact, I've recently hired an editor to go through and find them because I can read the same thing over and over again and I won't see my own mistake. And it is a typo. I just can't see it. It's crazy. But this is quite a common thing. Get somebody to have a look over it. Also, when you are writing that application, consider things like who might supervise you. What is the university? What is their specialism? Do they have some kind of projects going on or something like this? Maybe you can include some of that or embed some of that into your application. Demonstrate that you've done your research. You know about the supervisors. You know about the topic that you want to study. You know about the research methods. Include a reference list. Do some reading. You do need to prepare for this interview and you need to do a good application form. I will do another video at some point soon on how to write that great application. But for now, just make sure it's top notch. Just do your best. Another reason why lots of PhD applications are rejected is because the person who is applying for the PhD just lacks enthusiasm. You need to demonstrate a passion for the project, a passion for research, a passion for different research methods. And if you don't, that will come across. And if it doesn't come across in your application, your written application, it will come across in your interview. You need to be enthusiastic. You really do. Supervisors don't want to put their time and energy into somebody who isn't demonstrating that they want to learn. Supervisors don't want to put their time and energy into someone who really might quit because they get bored and they're not into it. Supervisors aren't going to hire somebody who's a flight risk. So demonstrate that you're not. Sometimes you might get rejected when you apply for a PhD position, not because there is anything wrong with you per se, but because actually you're just not really a good fit, you know? A supervisor and a PhD student relationship is one that's very, very important. You will spend a lot of time with them and they need to be able to work with you. And if they meet you and they think, we're not compatible, then they might not take you on. And that might not be anything personal to you. It might not mean that you've done anything wrong, but actually you're just not a good fit. And maybe you would work better with somebody else at a different university. My advice is, in advance, research who the supervisors are as much as you can and see if you think you might be a good fit or not. That can definitely help you in terms of structuring some of your answers for your application, your interview, etc. Now, one of the things that universities will look for is that a prospective PhD student has some research experience. Now, lots of people will not have an abundance of research experience in advance of applying for a PhD, because for a lot of people, a PhD is the first phase, and you get your experience by doing your PhD and then the research opportunities that come after that. But you can demonstrate that you have probably done a master's, you've probably done an undergraduate degree, talk about your dissertations, talk about your research, talk about how you loved it, because I'm sure you loved it, right? You loved it, right? And demonstrate a willingness to develop and to learn, because that's what's really important. The PhD process is a learning experience. Training and development are an important part of that. And on that note, one of the major reasons that people are rejected when they apply for a PhD is because they do not demonstrate a willingness to learn. As I just said, learning, going to colloquiums, webinars, seminars, courses, training sessions, all this stuff is an important part of doing a PhD. So you need to demonstrate you want to do that. You're not just willing, you want to. You definitely want to, right? You want to do it, and maybe actually go one step further and have a look at what opportunities there might be for you, what might be appropriate, and identify that within your application or within your interview. Another key reason for PhD applicant rejection is because the person who's applying for the PhD has not done adequate research and preparation. You need to prepare for your application and your interview. You need to do some research, do background research, research about the supervisors, look at their publications, read their publications, have a look at the research output of that university, do some research about the department, who works there, how many PhD students do they have, these sorts of things. Be informed. If you haven't done the adequate preparation, it will come across. If not in your application form, definitely in your interview. So make sure you are prepared. And my final reason why lots of people are sadly rejected from their PhD applications is because their motivations for doing a PhD are not clear. Now, some people genuinely might not really know. They might not know why they're doing a PhD. It might be kind of, I don't know what else to do, so why not? If that is the case, you probably don't really want that to come across in your application. You should have it clear in your head why you're doing a PhD and what is the benefit of you doing that PhD. And if you're not clear, maybe you need to sit back and ask yourself, why are you applying for this PhD? There are lots of great reasons to do a PhD, don't get me wrong. I've made a video all about it. But there are also lots of reasons not to do a PhD too. And I've also made a video about that. And before you even apply for a PhD, you need to think about these things. It's pretty important. A PhD supervisor doesn't want to take somebody on who is not totally committed, not totally dedicated, and who could be a flight risk. And you can't blame them, can you really? So those are the major reasons why people are rejected, unfortunately, from their PhD applications and interviews. But that doesn't have to be you. You can do a great interview if you follow some of the advice that I'm giving you on this channel. I've got lots of videos that I'm sure will be super helpful for you. So make sure, please, that you do subscribe. And if you have made it all the way to the end of this video, well done. Hit the like button. Let me know.